Exposed, heartwarming moment when billionaire discovers Maid's incredible sacrifice for baby, a tearjerker. Emma woke before the sun peeked over the towering skyscrapers of downtown Chicago. The city was alive at dawn, but for her, it was just another early morning. She slipped on her faded uniform and glanced briefly at the crib where her baby, Lily, lay sleeping, her small chest rising and falling in rhythmic breaths. Lily had been sick for weeks, and Emma's heart tightened at the thought of mounting medical bills. Each day was a battle just to keep her little girl afloat. In the elegant penthouse of Jack Harrison, a billionaire known for his lavish lifestyle, Emma scrubbed away the remnants of another night. As she wiped the glass walls overlooking the city, she felt a pang of longing mixed with resentment. These walls enclosed a life she could only dream of, shimmering wealth that felt completely out of reach. Jack often puttered about his penthouse, absorbed in his own world, but she did catch his eye sometimes. One morning, she caught him staring out into the skyline, a hollow look on his face. It puzzled her. Beneath the crisp suit and shimmering wealth, there was a spark of something deeper, the weight of unfulfilled aspirations, hidden behind closed doors. He looked deeply lonely, standing amongst jewel-toned paintings and velvet couches. Their lives crossed yet belonged to different realms. As she continued with her chores, washing the glimmering dishes, her ears caught snippets of Jack's conversations over the phone. Business deals that made hundreds of millions. He was a titan of industry, yet his laughter often echoed strangely against the backdrop of her struggles, the sleepless nights nursing Lily, the ache in her back from working multiple jobs, and the ever-rising stack of bills that threatened to engulf her. One evening, while dusting a priceless statue, Emma wiped away tears. She felt defeated, knowing she was drowning, only to look up and see Jack hovering just behind her. He hesitated before asking, "Are you okay?" His voice, surprisingly gentle, caught her off guard. That simple question laid the groundwork for a fragile connection. What started as small moves of kindness, grocery credits that arrived anonymously, a few bills covered mysteriously, built a bridge between their two worlds. Yet with every act of generosity, Jack felt the weight of guilt growing heavier. He sat at swanky dinners while the community's voices of dissent grew louder. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. At a community fundraiser, Jack found himself sitting amongst the elite, hearts whispering behind hushed breaths, as the anger about economic disparity hung palpably in the air. When Emma took the stage and shared her story, her voice trembled but carried a fierce clarity that cut through the ornate gold decor. Her words were a lifeline, filled with the essence of struggle and resilience, shining amidst the opulence around her. Jack watched in awe, heart racing as every eye shifted to Emma. It became painfully clear in that electrifying moment this was not about charity, it was about respect. Yet, just as admiration surged through him, a community elder stepped forward, challenging Jack's intentions. "Are you merely throwing money at problems, or are you here to truly understand?" Jack stood on the precipice between discomfort and growth, wrestling with his legacy as Emma's fierce spirit illuminated the room. As her story unfolded, he knew he had to do more than just help, he needed to engage, to bridge the gap. But how, when the crowd buzzed with questions and demands for real accountability, leaving everyone unsure if he could truly grasp the complexities of Emma's world? They were at a crossroads, teetering on the edge of change. What would happen next? The moment hung in the air, palpable and thick with tension. Emma's voice still echoed in Jack's mind, reverberating through the lavish hall filled with rich laughter and clinking glasses. She stood there, resolute and vulnerable, a beacon of truth among the glittering facade. Jack felt his pulse quicken as the elder's question sliced through his thoughts. The air was heavy with expectation, everyone waiting, needing to see how he would respond. He shifted, the weight of his privilege pressing uncomfortably against his conscience. Could he truly understand? Did he even want to? As patrons began to murmur among themselves, he realized this was no longer just about him or his wealth. It was about community, about Emma and those like her who fought tirelessly against a tide that continuously threatened to swallow them whole. He took a breath, steadying himself, then stepped up to the mic, the eyes of an anxious audience upon him. "I came here tonight with the desire to learn," he began, his voice stronger than he felt. "To understand how I can actually make a difference, not just throw money at a problem. I want to hear your voices, hear your stories." The murmurs quieted slightly, he could see curiosity replace some of the skepticism. With a bold gesture, he added, "Emma, would you join me up here?" The hushed crowd looked to Emma, pulling her into a spotlight she hadn't anticipated. Fear flickered across her face, but there was also a spark of hope, a chance to bridge the gap, to ignite change not just for her, but for others fighting the same battle. As she stepped up, Jack felt a rush of reassurance. He turned to face her, and the connection that had been forming between them crackled with newfound energy. "Together, we can explore real solutions," he said, trying to channel confidence. "Not just donations, but ways to empower this community. Share your vision with us." Emma's eyes widened with determination, and she spoke. "You have no idea how much even a tiny step could change lives. The systems in place hold people like me back. We need support to break those barriers." Her voice was steady, powerful, as the crowd leaned in, hanging on every word. The room shifted, a nervous energy replaced by a sense of possibility. Jack exchanged glances with Emma, recognizing her bravery as his own resolve solidified. He was ready to step beyond his own narrative, ready to gain insight into a world he had been shielded from. In the following days, tentative meetings emerged. Emma organized gatherings for the community, bringing together voices from various walks of life. Jack attended each one, absorbing their stories like a sponge. Each encounter challenged his views, and slowly, he began to see how complicated their realities were, yet with each meeting, his internal conflict grew. There were whispers of discontent from the elite circles he had run in, murmurs about how his compassion might be perceived as weakness. Jack felt the tug-of-war in his chest between his allegiance to the affluent and a newfound sense of responsibility he couldn't ignore. One afternoon, as he stood on the edge of the city's park, he watched families gathering, laughter intermingling with the cries of children. Something within him stirred. What did he want? To continue living in a gilded cage, or to step forward and know the city and Emma on a deeper level? Jack's phone buzzed in his pocket, a text from Emma. "We need to talk. I have an idea to share." He felt his heart skip. What was she planning? A surge of anticipation raced through him, tinged with an underlying dread. He looked down at that buzzing phone, contemplating the crossroads he now faced. What if her idea could truly reshape their worlds, a chance to create something beautiful? But was he willing to risk it all? The question lingered in the air as he took a deep breath, preparing to dial her number and stepping into the unknown. Would this conversation lead to a new future for them both? The sun was beginning to set, casting long, golden shadows across the park as Jack paced restlessly. The buzzing of his phone felt like a whirlpool, pulling him deeper into uncertainty. He finally found a bench and sat, gripping the device tightly. Images of Emma's passionate speech flickered in his mind, igniting hope but also fear. What could her idea mean? Would it push him further down this unfamiliar path? Jack's phone chimed again, and he steeled himself before opening the message. "Meet me at the cafe near the park. I have a lot to explain." There was urgency in her words that sent his heart racing, that he stood and started walking, each step heavier than the last. The cafe was filled with chatter, coffee machines steaming and the rich aroma surrounding him like a hug. He spotted Emma at a small table tucked in the corner. She looked even more determined than he remembered, her brow slightly furrowed, eyes alight with something more than anticipation. "Jack," she said, rising to greet him. Her voice was steady, but he could see a hint of nerves beneath the surface. "Thank you for coming." "Of course," he replied, sliding onto the chair opposite her. "I couldn't wait to hear what you have in mind." Emma took a deep breath, her gaze weighing the implications of what she was about to say. "I've been thinking a lot about ways to create a support network for families in need around here. Not just temporary help, but something sustainable. I want to start workshops, community initiatives, a place where people can share their skills, support each other, and build real connections." But she paused, looking down and wringing her hands. "But I need help to get it off the ground." Jack could feel the pull in his chest again, the familiar tug-of-war between his old life and this raw, genuine connection to Emma and her mission. "You want me to be a part of this? To help fund it?" "It's more than that," she replied fiercely, looking up. "You have connections, resources, insights that could make a real difference. I don't just want your money, I want your voice, your influence. Together, we could do something revolutionary." Her passion was infectious. He leaned in closer, his heart racing at the thought. But still, doubts whispered in the back of his mind, warnings from the circles he used to roam. He opened his mouth to speak but hesitated, the weight of uncertainty heavy on his tongue. "Jack," Emma pressed, "I wouldn't ask if I didn't believe in us. In what we can create together. This isn't just about charity, it's about empowerment. Making change, not just for a few, but for everyone who feels invisible." Her words were like a balm to his restless heart, fueling both excitement and fear. He thought about his family, his wealth, the expectations that came with it. Could he truly break free? "Okay," he said finally, barely recognizing the resolve in his own voice. "Let us do this. But I want to be involved in every part of the planning." Emma's face broke into a smile, genuine and radiant. "You won't regret it, Jack. We're going to change lives." But as they spoke about logistics and ideas, Jack's mind swirled with his internal battle. What sacrifices would he have to make? Would stepping into this new role cost him friendships, respect, or even his family's approval? As he left the cafe, he felt a dizzying mix of hope and fear. He could see the path stretching ahead, but it was littered with uncertainties. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting hues of orange and purple, and Jack caught his reflection in a shop window. Was this the man he wanted to become? Just then, his phone buzzed again, a message from a number he didn't recognize. His pulse quickened as he opened it. "I know what you're planning, Jack. You need to be careful." His heart raced. Who was this? What did they know? A chill ran down his spine as he stared at the screen, grappling with the unfamiliar weight of his choices. Who could he trust as he stepped into this new world? Jack's mind was a storm as he walked back through the park, the message burning a hole in his pocket. "I know what you're planning." It was written with an authority that made him feel small, exposed. He tried to shake it off, focusing instead on the purpose that Emma had ignited in him. Still, the chilling thought hung over him. Was there someone watching? His heart pounded not just from apprehension but from determination. He had chosen this path, and he wasn't going to turn back. But uncertainty quaked beneath the surface, whispering fears of backlash from his old life. His family's expectations felt like chains, and now, this message was an added weight, a reminder of his precarious position. As he approached his car, he paused, one thought striking harder than the rest. If he was going to make a difference, he needed to understand all the complexities at play. He needed an ally who could help him navigate this swiftly shifting terrain, someone with experience in the world he was stepping into. Someone like Emma. The cafe was still buzzing with energy, lights flickering against the deepening dusk. He stepped back inside, scanning the room until he spotted her still at the table, sketching notes in a planner, her expression one of fierce concentration. "Hey!" Jack called, sliding back into the chair. Emma looked up, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm still buzzing from their earlier discussion. "Everything okay?" she asked, lowering her pen and tilting her head in concern. I got a message, he said, bringing it up quickly. From a number I don't recognize. They know about our plan. Emma's posture shifted, tension threading through her body. What did it say? His voice was quiet, heavy with unease. Just that I need to be careful. That's it. A flash of worry crossed her face. Was it someone from your old world? Or, do you think it's someone who's against our mission? Jack clenched his fists. I don't know. But it feels personal, like they're watching me. She leaned forward, a fierce determination settling in. We can't let that stop us. If we're going to do this, we need to operate in the open but also be careful. We have the chance to help people, and we can't let fear control our actions. Her voice rolled over him like a much-needed wave of reassurance. It reminded him of why he had agreed to dive into this unfamiliar territory. There was something about Emma's spirit, her steadfast belief in the project, that threatened to galvanize him. You're right, he said, nodding more to himself than to her. I need to get my bearings. Emma brightened. Let us map out the next steps tonight. We can start figuring out what resources we need and who else we can bring into this. And don't worry about the message. This is bigger than that. Jack felt a weight lift as they began brainstorming. They dove into discussions about funding, outreach, and community engagement. He found himself getting lost in the possibilities, his earlier fears slowly fading behind the fire of their shared vision, but just as they were gaining momentum, Emma's phone buzzed on the table. She frowned, glancing at it before swiping to answer. Hello? Her expression shifted subtly, turning from concentration to alarm. Jack could see it written all over her face. Emma, what is it? He urged, heart racing again. She ended the call and looked at him, panic threading through her voice. That was my brother. He said there's been an incident at home. I need to go now. Concern gripped him. Is everything all right? I don't know. He just said I should come home. Suddenly, their plans evaporated into thin air. Jack's heart sank, but as he looked into her eyes, he realized he couldn't let this moment slip away. Emma, if you need help, I'm here for you. I can drive you. Her grateful smile was quick but heartfelt. As they rushed out of the cafe, Jack knew the ground beneath them was shifting again, more unpredictable than he'd anticipated. As they reached the car, a new message pinged on Jack's phone. He glanced down, chills racing down his spine. Keep your friends close. And your enemies closer. They won't protect you forever. His gut twisted. What was happening? Who was watching? And as the shadows deepened around them, preparing to face whatever lay ahead felt more crucial than ever. Would they uncover the truth before it was too late? The drive to Emma's house was thick with tension. Jack could feel it pulsing in the air between them, an electric current of worry and unspoken fears. Emma was unusually quiet, her fingers tapping restlessly against her thigh as they navigated the familiar streets. Each turn felt weighted with urgency, and Jack couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was at play. Do you know what happened? He asked, keeping his voice steady. She shook her head, eyes fixed on the road ahead. No, he just said it was bad. I can't think of what could have gone wrong. Her voice wavered, a small crack in her usual confidence. Jack reached over, placing a reassuring hand over hers on the gearshift. We'll find out soon. Whatever it is, we'll handle it together. She nodded, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The last thing he wanted was to add to her worries, but he felt a surge of determination to support her. Just as the tension reached its highest point, Emma's phone buzzed again, a jarring reminder of the world outside their bubble. Emma, he prompted gently. She glanced at the screen and bit her lip. It's my brother again. Answer it, he encouraged. We need all the information we can get. With a shaky breath, she tapped to answer. Hey, what is going on? Jack could hear her brother's clipped voice through the speaker, laden with urgency. Whatever was happening was serious. As the conversation unfolded, Jack's stomach twisted with anxiety. Their plans for uniting communities, fighting for the greater good, it all felt like it was slipping away, lost in the chaos of a family crisis. Watching Emma's face grew pale as her brother spoke ignited something deep within him. It wasn't just about their mission anymore, it was about protecting those they held dear. "Okay, I'm on my way," she finally said, disconnecting and turning to Jack. Her face was a mix of fear and determination. "I have to go in." He said I shouldn't waste time. "Let me come with you," he urged. "I can help, even if you just need someone there." She hesitated, glancing at the streets rushing by outside. Then, as if making a decision, she nodded. "Okay. But promise me you'll stay close. I don't know what we're walking into." "Of course," he replied, feeling a flicker of something electric in her gaze, a blend of vulnerability and trust. They arrived to find a small crowd gathered outside Emma's family home. The air was thick with murmurs and apprehension. Jack's heart raced. Something was definitely wrong. It sent a wave of anxiety crashing over him. He could see Emma's brother at the center of it, his face drawn and pale. "Stay behind me," Jack whispered, gripping Emma's hand a little tighter. They navigated through the crowd as Emma pushed forward, her face shifting from worry to resolve, determination etching itself into her features. "Jared!" she called as they neared, urgency lacing her voice. Her brother turned, his eyes wide with relief and concern at the sight of her. But the moment was interrupted. A figure broke through the crowd, a familiar face in his mind, but another anxiety shot through Jack. It was a childhood acquaintance of Emma's, someone who had been a part of their past. A shadow of doubt flickered as the realization struck. "Emma. It's worse than we thought. Mom's been taken to the hospital," Jared said, his voice shaking slightly. Jack felt a sinking feeling, the word hospital resonating like a death bell. He looked at Emma. "We're moving into dangerous territory now," he realized. But before he could process, Emma pulled away from him, adrenaline fueling her need to understand. "Why? What happened?" she demanded, eyes blazing with fierce defiance. Jared took a deep breath. "I don't know all the details. There was an incident at home." It looked deliberate. Jack's gut twisted again with unease. Deliberate. That word hung in the air, resonating dangerously. He needed to figure out if they were tangled with the broader threats surrounding them, those watching, those who knew. Whatever had happened, it felt too big for them to ignore. It was where family and their mission collided, and now every piece of information felt crucial. Jack could sense the storm rising again, churned by uncertainty and fear of what lay ahead. As Jack stepped forward, ready to offer his support, another message chimed on his phone. This one was from an unknown source again. "They will come for you next." He swallowed hard. It was a warning, and a reminder that the shadows were closing in. He turned to Emma, who was wide-eyed, staring at him. "What's wrong?" He didn't answer. Because deep inside, he was wondering how much danger were they really in? And was he prepared for the storm about to break? Jack stood frozen, the phone buzzing ominously in his pocket while the world spiraled around him. He could see the worry carving lines into Emma's face, and the urge to protect her surged within him like fire. "Jack?" Emma's voice pulled him back to the moment, her tone ripe with fear. "What is it?" He held up the screen, revealing the chilling message. Her eyes widened, and a shiver ran down his spine. "What does it mean? Are we in danger?" He wanted to say it was nothing. Just a cruel joke. But the truth weighed heavy on his chest. "I don't know, Emma. But we need to figure this out now." Jared stepped closer, sensing the shift in the air. "What do you mean? Is something wrong?" Emma's look of confusion morphed into something more pressing as she turned back to her brother. "We have to get to the hospital. Now." If Mom was taken there, we need to know what happened and if we're safe. Right, Jared nodded, shifting into gear. Let us move. As they made their way through the crowd, the buzzing intensified, the murmurs grew louder, the feeling of fear palpable. Jack held tightly to Emma's hand, every pulse of connection a reminder of what was at stake. Stay close, Jack, Emma whispered, a mix of determination and panic in her voice. He matched her pace, the crowd seeming to narrow in around them until they broke free into the street, the cool evening air hitting their faces like a splash of cold water. The hospital loomed ahead, its bright lights cutting through the dimness of dusk. Emma's breath quickened as they approached the doors. She turned to Jared. Do you know what happened? What did you see? I arrived just after it happened, he replied, his voice wavering slightly. There was glass everywhere. She didn't look good. Jack watched as Emma clenched her fist, her jaw tightening. That doesn't make sense. Mom would never. None of this makes sense. Jared interrupted, his voice raising in frustration. We'll figure it out at the hospital. The three of them stepped into the cool lobby, the antiseptic smell wrapping around them like a shroud. The receptionist, an older woman with tired eyes, looked up and immediately sensed the urgency. Can I help you? She asked, her voice calm though her brow furrowed. We're here to see Emily Roberts, Emma said quickly. She was brought in a few hours ago. The receptionist typed rapidly, her fingers flying over the keyboard. She hesitated before looking back up, the worry etched into her expression. You'll need to take a seat for a moment. I'll let the doctor know you're here. Please. Hold on. Jack felt the pinch in his stomach tighten. We can't sit. We need to know what's happening now. Emma's eyes darted around the room, searching for answers amid the anxiety radiating from the other families clustered in small groups. Is she okay? Please just tell us. Emma, Jared murmured, laying a hand on her shoulder. We can't rush them. We need to let them do their job. Frustration bubbled within her, but she nodded, her body trembling with adrenaline. Jack stood next to her, his heart racing in sync with hers, feeling the overwhelming weight of uncertainty. A few tense minutes passed before a doctor appeared, her eyes scanning the trio. Your family? Yes. Emma responded, her voice tinged with urgency. The doctor took a deep breath. Your mother is stable, but she sustained injuries in an incident that seems to be personal in nature. We need to discuss these details privately. Please follow me. Every step toward the consultation room felt like treacle, heavy and thick underfoot. Emma's hand squeezed his, her eyes racing with hope and fear, and Jack chose to focus on her, the one constant in the midst of chaos. The door swung shut behind them, trapping them in a bubble of silence that was only broken by the doctor's serious tone. What if they come for us, too? Jack wondered, uneasily. He felt Emma's grip tighten, but he could also see a flicker of determination igniting in her eyes. As the doctor began to explain, Jack knew they had stepped onto a path far darker than any of them anticipated. As the doctor laid out the details, he realized the stakes were even higher than he thought. And the shadows that loomed around them were not just lingering, they were shifting, growing. And then came another chilling message on Jack's phone, this one simply reading, "You cannot protect her forever." Every instinct screamed that the storm was finally about to break. The room felt stifling, the air thick with uncertainty. Jack's mind raced as the doctor began explaining their mother's situation, but all he could focus on was the heavy weight of dread pulling at his gut. Emma's fingers were cold in his grip, her gaze locked on the doctor, searching for anything that would ease her worry. Emily was in an altercation, the doctor continued, choosing her words carefully. We suspect it involved someone close to her, a person from her past. Jack's heart sank further into his chest. What do you mean? Is she safe now? Her condition is stable, but she'll need time to recover. You must understand, she may not be able to explain everything right away. Emma flinched at the word altercation, her face pale. Is that why she won't wake up? The doctor hesitated, then nodded. She's sedated to help her rest. We're doing everything we can. But you should prepare yourselves, this may be harder than you expect. Jared clenched his fists at his sides, anger igniting in his eyes. You mean there's a chance? A chance that she won't wake up? Not necessarily, the doctor said gently. But it's crucial you remain calm. She will need your support once she's awake. Jack swallowed hard, feeling the tension in the room swell. He turned to Emma, brushing a stray tear from her cheek with his thumb. We need to get through this together. What if they come after us? She whispered, a tremor betraying her brave front. We're not going to let anything happen to you, he vowed, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at his insides. I promise. As they exited the consultation room, Jack's phone buzzed again. He glanced down, his stomach dropping as he read the message, "They know you're there." Emma gasped beside him, her eyes wide and filled with dread. What does that mean? I don't know, Jack replied, panic taking root. But we can't stay here. We need to leave now. Where do we go? Jared asked, looking between them, unsure. Somewhere safe, Jack said firmly, though every ounce of his conviction felt thin against the reality of their situation. I'm not letting Emma out of my sight. Suddenly, the hospital's ambience shifted. The chatter of families and nurses grew louder, tension lacing the air. Jack felt it, the unmistakable sensation that they weren't alone. A flicker of movement at the end of the hallway caught his attention. Over there, he said, pointing. 3 figures in dark clothing stood just out of sight, their eyes scanning the crowd with an unnerving intensity. Jack's heart raced. Who are they? Emma asked, panic rising in her voice. I don't know, but we have to move, he replied urgently, pushing Emma to his right while stepping in front of her instinctively, shielding her. They rushed through the crowded lobby, Jack's heart pounding in sync with his footsteps. Outside, the night air felt sharp against his skin. He needed a plan, but the dark shadows of his thoughts were blurring any rational idea. As they reached the parking lot, Emma suddenly stopped, holding him back with a shaky grip. Jack, I can't keep running. What if? No what ifs, he interrupted, turning to face her, his voice fierce but softening. I know this is scary, but running is our only choice. Jared nodded, his face a mask of determination. We'll figure it out. Together. But just as he said it, they heard a faint rumble, a sound that shouldn't belong in the silence of the night. Jack, Emma said, voice trembling. He turned to see a car speeding toward them, headlights piercing through the darkness. Get down! He shouted, adrenaline kicking in. But as they dropped to the pavement, Jack's mind was already racing with questions. Who were they? And how far would this go to keep them apart? The sound of screeching tires filled the air, echoing their fear as the vehicle came to a halt just feet away from them. Jack could feel his pulse quickening, every instinct screaming that this was just the beginning. And as the door swung open, revealing a familiar face cloaked in shadows, Jack knew this night was about to change everything. Jack's heart pounded as the door swung open to reveal a face he never expected to see again. It was Ryan, their estranged father. The man who had walked out of their lives long ago stood before them, eyes shadowed but unmistakably familiar. Jack! Emma! What are you doing here? His voice was laced with a mix of surprise and urgency. Why are you here? Jack shot back, his protectiveness spilling over. He wasn't about to let his father insert himself into this chaos, not now, not ever. Get in the car. It's not safe. Ryan called, glancing nervously toward the hospital entrance as if expecting someone to follow them. Why should we trust you? Emma's voice wavered, a hint of fear and confusion threading through her words. Because I know what's happening. I can help. Ryan insisted, panic etched into his features. If you don't get in now, you'll regret it. Jack exchanged a look with Emma, who looked more scared than ever. The flickering streetlights offered glimpses of doubt on their father's face. What do you know? Jack pressed, adrenaline fueling his anger. Enough. Ryan snapped, looking down the street as if time were running out. I made mistakes, but this isn't about me. It's about you too. You need to protect yourselves. We can't stay here. Jared tugged at Jack's sleeve. Dude, we don't have time to debate this. We need to go. Fighting with himself, Jack's instincts kicked in. If Ryan was right, every second spent hesitating put them more at risk. He looked back at Emma. What do you want to do? Tears glimmered in Emma's eyes. I don't want to be in danger anymore. It's not like we have many options, Jack murmured, feeling the weight of his promise to protect her dragging him into uncertainty. He finally nodded to Ryan. Fine. But if you betray us again, I swear yeah, I get it, just get in. His father gestured frantically toward the car, glancing back over his shoulder as if expecting shadows to emerge. They climbed into the back seat, the familiar scent of leather filling Jack with an unsettling nostalgia. He felt trapped, as if the walls were closing in. Ryan slid into the driver's seat, his expression a mix of determination and fear. I can't explain everything right now, but you need to trust me. Jack didn't respond, he merely sat rigidly, eyes narrowed. Fear diluted through every fiber of his being, battling the instinct to trust. He studied Ryan's hands gripping the steering wheel. He could see the tremor beneath his skin. As they sped off, the streets blurred past them. Jack could feel Emma trying to inch closer to him, fear radiating from her body. What if he's lying? She whispered. We're just going to have to wait and see, Jack replied, trying to sound strong for her. But we're not alone. As long as we stick together, we'll be all right. Suddenly, Ryan swerved, taking a sharp turn that sent Jack careening against his sister. There's a safe house nearby. We'll get there, regroup, and then I'll explain everything, Ryan said, his voice barely above a whisper. Just then, Jack noticed something, a shadow in the rearview mirror, a car following them too closely. The pounding in his chest intensified. Dad, we've got company. Jack shouted, pointing. Ryan pressed the accelerator, the car roaring as they headed deeper into the night, the sound of pursuing tires echoing behind them. Jack's heart rattled in his chest as they entered a dimly lit road. He had no idea where this was leading, but the weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on him. Hold on. Ryan shouted, making another sharp turn, desperate to lose whoever was on their tail. As they sped away, the unknown loomed larger than ever. What would come next? Jack clenched his fists, feeling the storm of emotions swirl, and all he could think was, would any of them survive the night? The tires screeched around another corner, the sound fracturing the tense silence that had settled in the car. Jack could hear his own breathing, ragged and quick, mingling with Emma's stifled sobs beside him. Ryan's knuckles turned white against the steering wheel as he hit the gas. They could hear the engine of the car behind them revving up, gaining ground with every second. Faster, Dad. Jack urged, clenching his jaw. The last thing he wanted was to admit that he was relying on the man who had abandoned them. I'm trying. Ryan shot back, eyes flickering from the road to the rearview mirror, where he caught a glimpse of their pursuer, a dark shape only a few car lengths behind. Just hold on tight. Emma squeezed Jack's arm, her grip trembling. He could feel her fear radiating like a suffocating heat. It was a familiar sensation, the cold grip of anxiety they could both remember from their childhood, magnified now by the urgency of their situation. Jack, Emma whispered, her voice trembling. What if he's leading us into a trap? He turned to look at her, his heart softening in the chaos. I know. I'm scared too. But we need to stick together right now. Even as he said it, doubt knotted inside him. Could they really trust Ryan? Keep it steady, Ryan. Jack called over the roar of the engine. Think. Where are we heading? There's a warehouse up ahead. I know a back entrance. It'll give us a moment to breathe. Ryan's voice was steady, but Jack could still hear the frantic undercurrent. Jack hoped it was true, hoped they weren't just racing toward a dead end. As they approached the warehouse, Ryan made another sharp turn into a narrow alley, the headlights bouncing wildly. Jack caught Emma's eye and saw the flicker of hope mixed with fear. They were alive, but for how long? Get ready to jump out. Ryan yelled, slowing just enough for the entrance to appear up ahead. Jack nodded, steeling himself for whatever would come next. As soon as they were through the door, Ryan hit the brakes. Jack felt the jolt, and all three of them moved in sync, bursting out of the car before it came to a complete stop. They hurried towards the entrance of the warehouse, a faded blue door almost camouflaged in the nighttime shadows. Quick! In here! Ryan urged, pushing the door open. They dove inside just as headlights glared in the alleyway behind them. Jack's heart raced again, adrenaline surged through him like fire. The moment they entered, Ryan slammed the door shut and pressed against it, breathless. Stay down. We'll wait here until they pass. Jack nodded, glancing around at the interiors, old crates stacked high and dust settling like mist in the dim light. Emma was breathing heavily beside him, her eyes wide with fear. He reached for her hand. We're safe for now, he promised, even if he didn't entirely believe it. As they huddled together, the sound of tires screeching to a halt outside echoed through their hiding place. Jack's heart pounded again, each beat screaming a desperate prayer for safety. Would they find them? Would Ryan be the father they needed, or just another mistake? Suddenly, the door rattled as someone tried to push it open. Jack's breath caught in his throat. They weren't out of danger yet. Listen carefully, Ryan whispered urgently, leaning in. I didn't just come back for you. There's more at stake than you know. If we want to make it out alive, we need to work together. The uncertainty swirled around them, thickening the air, mixing with a glimmer of hope. What could his father possibly mean? Jack held Emma tighter, his mind racing. Secrets might be lurking just beyond that door, and they were about to uncover something much bigger than their simple family drama. What did Ryan know that could change everything? As the rattling of the door subsided, a heavy silence enveloped the warehouse. Jack's pulse raced, each heartbeat resonating with both fear and the flickering need for clarity. He felt Emma trembling beside him, her eyes a storm of vulnerability and resolve. Ryan leaned closer, intent on conveying urgency. Listen, I'll explain everything soon, but you need to trust me, he murmured, glancing towards the door again. There's more going on here than what you realize. The people after us, they're dangerous. We can't afford to make mistakes. Jack stared at his father, searching for honesty behind the shadows. What do you mean? What do you know? Ryan took a deep breath, his expression darkening. I'll tell you everything, but first, let us keep quiet. We need to know if they're still out there. Outside, the low rumble of voices creeped through the cracks in the walls. Shadows drifted, silhouettes searching. Jack held his breath, tension pulling taut as he caught a glimpse of dark figures moving past the window. Emma squeezed his hand harder, grounding him. What do we do if they find us? She whispered, her voice pitched with anxiety. Stay calm, Jack replied, confidence threading through panic. We'll figure this out one step at a time. Ryan nodded, almost imperceptibly. There's a way out through the back, but it won't be easy. Are you ready? Emma's nod was quick, determination lighting her features. It filled Jack with a flicker of hope. Yeah, we can do this. Okay, follow my lead, Ryan instructed, positioning himself at the rear door. If they come any closer, we'll escape through the old storage room. With a steadying breath, they waited. The moment stretched, but finally, Ryan turned the doorknob slightly, the creaking sound serving as a prompt for their hearts to leap into their throats. "Now!" Ryan whispered urgently, swinging the door open and ushering them through like a shepherd guiding his flock. Jack half led, half pushed Emma as they entered the darkened storage space, filled with boxes and rusting equipment. He could hear their breath hushed and rapid, matching the pounding in his chest. Jack turned back to his father. "Now what?" "Just a few more steps," Ryan said, leading them cautiously through the maze. As they moved, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that his father had more to share than just the escape plan. It was a reckoning they hadn't yet faced. Suddenly, an abrupt sound echoed, piercing through their fragile sphere of silence. Someone had found the door. Tense murmurs began filtering through the shadows. "Move, now!" Ryan urged, shifting into a protective stance as he pushed them toward a corner at the far end. Jack glanced back, instincts flaring as he turned defensively toward the door. "I won't let anyone hurt you," he promised Emma, even as he felt the weight of uncertainty. "Together, remember?" Emma reminded him, that flicker of unwavering strength brightening her brown eyes. Ryan shifted closer to both of them. "We need to move while we still have a chance. Just trust me." With the adrenaline kicking in, Jack's resolve solidified. "I trust you," he breathed as they bolted for the small window leading outside. In the vessel of night, fear morphed into courage, and they managed to clamber out just as heavy footsteps approached. Fresh air flooded Jack's lungs, filling him with renewed energy. He urged Emma to go first, catching a glimpse of the outside world, a deserted alley illuminated by flickering lights. Freedom beckoned, but it came at a cost. Once they were clear, Jack turned back to Ryan. "What do we do next? Are we safe?" Ryan hesitated, looking over his shoulder. "We need somewhere safe to lay low. There's a place, an old friend who can help." As they hurried down the alley and into the embrace of the darkness, Jack shot a glance at his sister. "Emma, whatever happens next, we stick together. Always." Hope renewed now filled the void, but so did anxiety, moving from the safety of the warehouse to the dangers lurking outside. Yet, as they jogged deeper into the night, Jack felt the thread of connection between them, all three of them, deepening with every moment. Ryan quickened their pace, urgency propelling them forward. "If we can just reach my contact, we can figure out a plan. It's not just about escaping, it's about hitting back." Jack's heart thrummed at the thought. "Hitting back? You mean?" "Finding out what really happened, and why they're after us," Ryan confirmed, an edge of fierceness igniting in his eyes. "I won't let them take you away from me again." And in that moment, an unbreakable bond was forged anew, a promise not just for survival, but for reclaiming their lives and, piece by piece, understanding the truth behind the shadows that threatened to engulf them. As the city lights twinkled like stars against the tapestry of night, Jack knew they were stepping into an uncharted territory, but they were together. As long as they stood united, darkness didn't stand a chance. So, as they raced into the unknown, a chorus of powerful emotions surged within him: fear, hope, unity. This was just the beginning of their fight. Jack pulled Emma close, whispering, "We'll get through this. I promise." His father, beside them for the first time in what felt like forever, nodded fervently. Together, they dashed forward, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead with unwavering loyalty, courage, and a burning desire to protect their family. No matter the cost. And if you believe in the power of resilience and unity, then now is your moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this transformative journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Remember, only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait not even one more second to share.